back in the chase for the cup, and we are in Long Beach, California. UK ball on pole from Pablo Sierra and Daniel Bogdasarov. Then Sebastian Ocampo starts 4th from Babinets Jr. and Marcus Nelson. Daf Sanchez starts 7th from Oscar Fulstad, who will start on the hards. Then Mohamed Nawawi and Remy Lebeau, but I am qualifying for both of them. Tenali Gabo is 11th from Revo Championship leader, only 12th. Then it's the Red Devil, Ica World, Tommy, Awful Catfish, Lala Clerk, then Alan Lee, Ahmed down in 19th for the Superstar rookie, Pierre Gasly, Not You, and Zay Lane. Alright, UK ball for Power Motorsport, currently on pole, but he's got 2 factory Renault drivers behind him. All 5 lights go on. And we go green in Long Beach, and that's a very good start from the Spaniard alongside UK ball as they now come through turn number 1. Pablo Sierra already takes the lead, and Ocampo challenging the number 89, and in fact already past the Power Motorsport man. Nelson gets past UK ball as well. Already UK ball having to have all of his wits about him after starting on pole, a position little to no drivers really benefit from here in Long Beach. So it's Sierra who leads away from UK ball, but I think bigger to note, Bogdasarov dropped a position off the line. The outside is not where you want to start, as further back, Nawawi's dropped to 10th, fighting with Remy Lebeau. Revo's gotten himself up into 11th, but here comes Bogdasarov. He takes 3rd position back into his hands. Sanchez gets a 5-second time penalty, as here they come through this snaking part of the track. You don't want to hit the wall, and someone has. That's false that out, and oh, Catfish also out of this race, and that's the Red Devil facing the wrong direction out last time out, and now facing the wrong way and hitting a plethora of drivers. Virtual safety car has been called, and the Red Devil is also out of this race, and Zay Lane hitting the Kiro Renault car and in fact flipping it as well. Very unorthodox opening lap incident, but even with all of that, on lap 1 of 14 as we now begin the second, it's Pablo Sierra who leads the way from UK ball and Daniel Bogdasarov, as it was in the regular season race in Long Beach, which you didn't see because my tablet had a tantrum. You only saw the results from that race, but the results did not reflect the race in the slightest. Oh boy. Virtual safety car is ending. We will get back underway, and we are now back underway. And UK ball 0.5 of a second off the back of Sierra. 0.7, not really very good in the turns, is that red and a white Power Motorsports car sponsored by Target. We go on board with that power car, and it does feel like he's got a lot of power underneath him. He's using attack mode. He might want to use attack charge going down the next straight, as that is Babinets Jr. with a monster of a lunge up into 3rd position for that DS Venturi car. His teammate Tommy down in 14th as they now come through the chicane. No one really trying to go side by side again. Someone has done it, and that is Mohamed Nawawi in the wall. He's lost his front wing. Ben Allen Lee's collided with the back of Pierre Gasly and has been given a 5-second time penalty for his troubles, but the track has been cleared once more. As the rest of the field now coming through the chicane, Zay Lane so far at the back. Remy Lebeau getting a time penalty as well, colliding with the side of Marcus Nelson, presumably. And we do expect Nawawi to come into the pits at the end of this lap. UK ball has taken the lead throughout all of that. We've missed the move for the lead. Babinets Jr.'s got the fastest lap now. And in fact, Sierra, he's doing his best to keep in touch with UK ball, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. Ahmed still the fastest lap in 14th, the 120.666, almost 3 seconds faster than Babinets Jr.'s effort. This is actually one of the fastest races we've had in California. UK ball sets the fastest first sector of anybody, as further back, Leclerc getting past Tenali Gabo. And in fact, only 2 drivers starting this race on the hards, Gabo and Fulstad. And one of them's out. The other one has had his teammate retire from this race, so the hards might not do too well. It would be brilliant to see Sims finally take home a first race win in their pretty short-ish career. But throughout the Nissan days when, Leclerc is out in Long Beach. Day over for Lala Leclerc at a very weird part of the track. It's at the start of that. Yeah, there it is. There's Leclerc, and he's been hit by Zay Lane. Virtual safety car is out there, but Leclerc out of the race in a really weird part of the track, and now Lane, once again, missing his front wing. Mercedes' day has gone from bad to even worse. To be at the back of the pack throughout all of that, and Remy LeBeau coming into the pits, does he have front wing damage? I think he's just taking the early stop. He's basically right now committed to the two-stop strategy, as we've seen in races gone by. You don't really want to do the two-stop, because if you are doing the two-stop, no one else around you is going to be doing it, but you will get fresher tires. But then the question is the risk worth it? And in all honesty, recent memory tells me no, it is not worth it. On board with Babinets Jr., he's got attack mode on Sierra, who's got attack mode on UK Ball, who presumably is using all of his attack charge to keep the drivers close to him behind, but he wasn't. You can see that green bar is still all the way up. That means he hasn't used any attack charge. He's at 88% in the 89 car. But here comes Pablo, using all of his attack charge. Now he gets to use attack mode, goes alongside UK Ball, and before they reach the breaking point, Pablo Sierra is back in charge of the Long Beach Prix in that blue and black Renault Edam's car. As they now come through the final turn. No attack mode this time for Sierra. That will go to UK Ball on lap 5 of 14. As further back, seems like we've got some moves happening up front. Bogdasarov trying to get himself further up the field as Revo comes into the pits first for DS Techeetah. Alright, interesting strategy. Maybe they're going for the undercut. They are hoping down at DS Techeetah that there won't be any sort of virtual safety car later on. And there are tons of moves happening behind the race leaders, but we're not focusing on that because UK Ball is looking to try and be the race leader as Mohamed Nawawi sets a new fastest lap. Attack mode and attack charge used in tandem down the inside, and the race lead in Long Beach returns to the Season 10 champion. As they now come through this tight chicane, Babinets Jr. seemingly taking a little too much speed through there, but just about keeps it out of the wall. Sierra's now going to get attack mode. He's using all of his attack charge. He's out of attack charge. He's using all he has, and all he has is enough to take the lead back from UK Ball. So that 15 seconds of fame up front, well, it didn't look like the number 89 could make the most of it. And we might expect to see some drivers come into the pits, but those drivers are not any in the top 3. 8 laps to go. Sierra leads from UK Ball and Babinets Jr. Sebastian Ocampo still fighting with Daniel Bogdasarov, who sends it down the inside on the yellow. Andretti Manin does take 4th. It's down Andretti 5-6 with Ocampo leading and Sanchez in that little battle. But of course, a 5-second time penalty. Remy LeBeau now getting a fastest lap of 119.83 rather. As Sanchez still looking for a way to try and get past his teammate. Maybe they're using some team orders here because Sanchez much lower down in terms of the standings for the chase. Keep forgetting to remind myself that there are some serious implications. All of the top 7 drivers are fighting for points in the chase. As look at this, 4-way fight for 4th. Are you kidding me? Ocampo gets himself up into 4th, and we've got yellows down in the 2nd sector, and it's for UK Ball. The man who started on pole has got a front wing damage. He's got front wing damage as UK Ball. Iker Woldnos coming onto the back of this fight for 2nd. As more yellows down there. It's for Ben Allen Lee. Remy LeBeau now with a 10-second time penalty. Tommy is in the walls as Gabo gets himself through there. Here comes Revo. Just about avoids Tommy by the skin of his teeth. Oh my goodness, that is some skill to maneuver your car out of there like that. We're at half race distance. UK Ball and Babinets Jr. both peel into the pits. UK Ball did manage to get past the younger of the two Babineses to drive in this league. As Ahmed now trying to get himself past Pierre Gasly. And for UK Ball, His first ever teammate, Revo, he might try and get himself further up the field. That is Bogdasarov. He's getting himself past now. He's on the back of Denali Gabo in front of him. But at half race distance, his tire's saying 83%. Maybe that early stop might have locked Revo into a two-stop strategy. If it hasn't locked him into a two-stop strategy, it's going to be quite dangerous for him, as there goes Ica World back past him. As Marcus Nelson leading the two Andretti's into this chicane where we've seen so many drivers retire from this race, but they've all just about managed to keep it clean. Remy LeBeau leads Duke Cable and Babinus Jr. in this fight for 5th, as there goes Revo down the inside on Babinus Jr., who's been into the wall and into the other. Yellow's in the second sector for the Silver Venturi man, who will have to come into the pits at the end of this lap, but he just about manages to keep it clean for the rest. As we've still got yellows, it's for Ahmed. Ahmed in the wall, and Mohamed Awawi out of this race. Contact there, and where is Nawawi's car? I don't think we can see it on the minimap. That's a problem. That must mean he's gone over the barriers, or they've just cleaned it up quickly. So many drivers now taking this opportunity to make their first stop. Sanchez leads from Pablo Sierra, and I think it might be Remy LeBeau who will be 5th here. He's currently 5th. He might move up to 3rd. He comes out of the pits just ahead of Marcus Nelson. The timing tower, of course, in that end of the second opening of the first sector, not too great. Ahmed is coming in for his second stop. Side by side go Ocampo and Remy LeBeau, as they now head into this part of the track where you can use attack mode to its fullest, and if you've got any, attack charge as well, but he's going to have to be really careful. Remy LeBeau currently in 4th. He won last time out in Buenos Aires, but he's now got a champion behind him and a two-time champion in front of him. In fact, he's got 2 champions behind him. Here comes Cable, and he does take 4th, but Sanchez has caused the yellow flag in that second sector. He's lost part of his front wing. That piece of the front wing I don't believe is still on the track. Here comes Marcus Nelson. There goes Marcus Nelson up into 5th position, as now Cable chases down Sebastian Ocampo. Pablo Sierra will resume the race lead after Sanchez pits, but there goes Pablo into the race lead, and we've got yellows again in that second, and it's for Tommy once more. His teammate gets past him. He's in the wall. Can he get himself out of there? He reverses now. Just about misses Ahmed. He has dropped to the back of the pack. Nelson sets the fastest 3rd sector of anyone, as he's now ahead of Cable. Not too sure why we had yellow flags there for too long. They could have just pulled it in after Tommy had, gotten himself back up and running. But on board with Cable, he's 5 seconds off the race lead. He started this race on pole position. He's got 81% tire wear to try and manage to lap 14 of 14. He's got 5 more laps to go. Meanwhile, his first teammate in Revo, we're still looking at him because he is leading the chase points. He's at 65% tire wear. He's going to have to pit again. This could come down to a 1-stop versus 2-stop debacle like we've seen many times before. And Tommy's in for his first. Tommy hasn't pitted before this lap. How has he managed that? Not even Gabo stayed out for that long. No way that's his first stop. I don't believe that one bit. I don't think Tommy's only stopped once in this race so far, especially considering he's a minute off the race lead, as we see the leaders behind the leader in Ocampo and Nelson fighting over second, as Pablo Sierra sets a new fastest lap on lap 10. Nelson steals it from him at 1:18.083, as he's gapped Cable quite well. 2 seconds between Nelson and Cable. In fact, there's no one really behind him, so we could actually see a changing of the lead in the championship in the points for the Chase Cup. As we go on board with Sierra, Babinus Jr. sets a new fastest lap of 17.433. These are some really rapid times coming in as this race reaches a crescendo. On board with Nelson, and he's not really looking to try and make a pass on Ocampo. Zay Lane comes in for his second stop of the day. Interesting time to do that down at Mercedes with 4 to go. Maybe they're going to try and take the fastest lap themselves. Remy LeBeau's tyres have seen better days. My goodness, man, it's like they've been dragged through a desert as he comes through that chicane. How has he managed to keep it out of the wall through his own strength? I bet is the answer to that question. Looking with Revo, who's got, well, he's got worn tires as his teammate has taken second, but it's not as bad as some drivers further up front. Lap 11 of 14. As here comes Ocampo on Nelson. There goes Ocampo on Nelson. And I think if I'm in these guys' here, if I'm their race engineers, I would be telling Nelson and Ocampo at the same time, what are you doing fighting for second when Sierra is 4 seconds ahead and you've got the fastest car than Sierra in front because you pitted later? You can go and take the win. As Remy LeBeau comes in for softs with 3 to go, we expect Revo to do something similar in the coming laps. As here comes Nelson on Ocampo. This has been the main fight for position ever since those first few pit stops. This has been where you've got your popcorn buckets well wide open and maybe even facing emptiness as they come through that squiggly part of the second sector. No faster sectors being set by either of them. Attack mode wide open for Marcus Nelson. He's not using attack charge though. He's going to get himself up into second, and he's got yellows in the second sector now. That is for Daniel Bogdasarov, who's in the wall. And in fact, my goodness me, that's Revo. Revo spun Pierre Gasly, presumably also has had an incident of his own. Ben Allen Lee's been given a 5-second time penalty, but that is the Chase Cup leader out of this race. Revo is out with 2 laps to go, being flipped by his own countryman Antonelli Gabo. The Sims Motorsport ZS taking out their own factory equivalent. That's not a good look. That is quite the bad look for the team. Especially seeing as they are not looking to score any points, or at least finish in the top 10 rather. Virtual safety car is ending and they get back racing. Gasly's come in and he has lost his front wing. He was the reason for the original yellow flag down there. Then Bogdasarov, who now comes in, he spun, and that collected Revo, who is now out of this race with only a handful of laps to go. On board with Marcus Nelson, the gap between Ocampo and Sierra is closing. 1.8 seconds. I think these guys should be able to catch him by the end of this race, but then the issue becomes, what of their tires? They've got 2 laps to manage those ailing soft tires. U-Cables in the similar camp of his tires probably won't make it to the end of this race. They are struggling out there for grip. As you can see, Ica World going very deep on board with Babinas Jr., who's got no real competition. A lot of these drivers haven't got real competition anywhere near them. Gaps really beginning to open up to the point where I think the closest fight for position is between Lane and Tommy. As into the pits comes Sierra and Ocampo. Marcus Nelson leads on the penultimate lap of the Long Beach Prix. They've only got 2 laps left to run. U-Cable now back up into seconds. But surely those top 2 can't make it to the end of the race. Surely those top 3 can't even make it to the end of the race. Sierra has come out in front of Ocampo, but that gap is still quite close. And in fact, that is Ica World right behind Ocampo. I almost thought, because both the Trackhouse and Renault cars are a shade of blue, but it's very much not different in the slightest. Anokyu and Gabo both coming into the pits for their second stop. This is it. This is the 1 stop versus the 2 stop. Nelson coming through this chicane. He might be fine for this lap, but on the next lap, he's going to be so much closer to that wall with how much more speed he's going to have to carry through to make sure that that car even accelerates at this point. As we go on board with the UK ball, almost hits the wall there. It's a wonder how he's kept it out. As you can see how much easier it is for Ocampo to go through than for Ica World. As here comes Remy LeBeau. There goes Remy LeBeau up into 7th position. But that 10-second time penalty will drop him outside of the points paying positions, which is quite big to notice considering he is a postseason driver. We are on to the final lap in Long Beach, California. Marcus Nelson leads the way after fighting with Ocampo for the vast majority of this race. The 1-stop strategy could be the thing that either gives him or U-Cable his first race win, but now Sierra on the back of U-Cable All that the Power Motorsport man can do right now is defend with all the battery that he's got. He's got nothing in that battery. There's not much he can do. There is nothing that UK Ball can do to stop Pablo Sierra, who sets the fastest first sector. And more than that, before they even reach the attack mode point, Sierra up into second position ahead of UK Ball, whose mediums have packed it in and called it a day, and has packed it in and called it a day. Same thing for Nelson's soft tires. He hit the wall down there, caused yellow flags. Same thing for UK Ball, who hits the wall, and Sanchez further back. Virtual safety car's been called. Sanchez is out of this race, and we will end this race under caution. And into the wall as well goes Ica World. Hopefully no T-bone collision will be caused down there. However, out in front, as his teammate ran away with the story of last season, as Remy LeBeau gets a 5-second time penalty. He's back on the top step of the podium. Marcus Nelson takes home victory in Long Beach. Pablo Sierra will come home to finish in second from Ocampo and UK Ball. Remy LeBeau has got himself a 15-second time penalty. Bogdasarov has been given a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. Into the wall has gone Ahmed. And this is really evidence that in Long Beach you need the grip. Babinets Jr.'s lost his front wing. Gabo's been given another 10-second time penalty. My goodness me. It's always like this on the last lap of Long Beach. Tempers rising. And down at that chicane you can see how much all the drivers really want it. Do you want points? Do you want wins? How much are you going to get it for? If you want to ding up your entire car while doing it, I'm pretty sure all of these drivers would love to see that happen. As Anant Q comes across the line in 10th. Pretty sure he won a race here earlier on in his career, did the Hong Kong man. As Ahmed comes across the line with Lane and Tommy close behind. 15-second time penalty for Remy LeBeau, though. That is mad. That is massive. This is the podium man. Marcus Nelson takes home victory in Long Beach from Pablo Sierra and Sebastian Ocampo. Then it's UK Ball, Ica World, Pierre Gasly, Remy LeBeau, and Anant Q in 8th. Then it's Daniel Bogdasarov and Babinets Jr. Both of those two scoring the same amount of points because Babinets Jr. got the fastest lap. Then it's Ben Allen Lee, Ahmed, Tenali Gabo, Zay Lane, and Tommy being the last to go finishes, with your non-finishers being Daf Sanchez, Revo, Mohamed Nawawi, Welsh Leclerc, the Red Devil, Catfish, and Falstad in the driver standings. UK Ball leads the way from both Remy LeBeau and Revo. Then it's Ocampo, Sierra, Nelson, Babinets Jr., Daniel Bogdasarov, Falstad, Daf Sanchez, and Tommy, with Ahmed still leading the season-long points standings. Well, that's been quite the race in Long Beach, California. Next time out, we'll be racing in Monte Carlo. So we hope that you'll join us next time out on the ERL Formula E Series.